Hey guys, Naomi here. Today is all about finally snatching your perfect project from the market. You've trained hard for this race. You've done all of the hard work, all the nitty-gritty research side of your business. It's ready to go. And now you're walking up to the start line. If you were being marked on effort and preparation right now, you would absolutely score an A+. The adrenaline is high, the crowd is buzzing. This is the exciting part. And, or at least it should be, realistically. In this uncharted territory, it can sometimes feel a little overwhelming for you. Are you worried about that? Despite all of the research in this lead up, all the research to this point, you might lose your head when it comes to the real deal. Or are you biting your nails, wondering if you'll get caught up in the excitement and pay more than the property is actually worth at this crucial point in time? And how do you make sure that you don't overpay when the market is so hot in areas around our country? All of these things might actually hurt your end profits, yes, but you don't have to worry about them. Why? Because I'm here to give you a little insight into why people choose to sell and how that will help you pay the right price when you're looking to buy. So, you've found the perfect property. Right, it's right up your alley. It's ripe for a kitchen revamp and maybe an extension. It's all the ticks. The patch is right, the strategy boxes are ticked. The only problem is that the market's a bit hot and the seller has a set price in mind and it's just a little bit too high. Do you give up on a whim? No, the game hasn't even started yet. Do you give in and pay exactly what the seller wants? That's a no from me as well. You don't want to cave in at a price that you know won't give you your pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. What do you do instead then? Great question. Well, you can negotiate, of course, but if the market is too hot, then most people won't budge because there's probably a cowboy around the corner waiting to pay exactly what they want. Unless, of course, they are desperate to sell. The difference between landing a good price and a great price lies right in the seller's motivation. So knowing the seller's motivation is one of the most important negotiating tools you can have in your tool belt right now. If the seller has only put their property on the market to get a feel for how much they could get, potentially, then this, is a complete booby trap. These people aren't really motivated to sell. Nothing at all is pushing them to shake your hand at the end of the day on a decent sale price. But what if the seller, what if all of a sudden they were in a rush to sell? What if it turned out that they were getting a divorce? If the court had mandated they had to sell? Maybe they just inherited a house from their great aunt that they couldn't even afford to look after. Now you'll be having a bit more bargaining power there, won't you? And why is that? Because the seller has a real motivation to get rid of that property. The more pressing this motivation is, the more bargaining power that you will have as the buyer. These motivated sellers will also be much more realistic when it comes to what their property is worth. Inflating the price is not an option for them because they need to sell and they need to sell it quickly. These types of sellers can't just wait and see who gives them the biggest bag of cash at the end. This is where you can jump straight in and secure a great deal. But just like the example above, people will have a lot of different reasons why they need to sell. There are 4 main ones that I call the 4 Ds that will push people to sell and sell fast. Now the first D stands for debt. Maybe someone in their family gambled away the loan repayments. I'm not sure. Maybe the company that they own has gone under. Maybe the breadwinner has just been made redundant. Or it could just be that the bank has hiked up the interest rate and they could no longer afford the repayments. It could be a multiple amount of things. Maybe they've just bought another amazing property and put a deposit down, but they have to sell theirs quickly to access the money. Whatever the reason may be, when a person can't afford to keep a property because of financial struggles, they'll be a motivated seller and sell as quickly as possible to get the money back and keep things afloat. Now, the same thing goes for if the bank is selling the property. Banks are in a business of recouping their money, not of holding property and building impressive portfolios. So they will be absolutely focused on getting the money back that is owed to them. Now, the second D is about disease. So it's about health and well-being. Unfortunately, sometimes, realistically, people get really sick or injured. It could be a stroke that limits their movement. It could be a serious motorbike accident that requires a wheelchair access. It could even be a serious bout of asthma that means they have to come out of the city and get fresh country air. Whatever the reason may be, whatever these changes are, it'll mean that they will need to move home and that the one that they're in now is no longer suitable for their lifestyle. So this motivates people to sell quicker so they can get better finding a home that suits their health needs or the needs of their loved ones. Now, the third D is a big D, and it's one everyone knows about, and it is divorce. Breakups aren't always really that pretty. They can be, but they're not always. And they often involve solicitors and courts and agents and negotiations, and sometimes even children, which can make things sometimes messy and stressful. So selling the family home is just another one of those stresses that can be added to the list. So regardless of whether it's court mandated or whether the couple just decide to sell their home so they can move on with their new lives, often a divorce, so the D of divorce, means a quicker sale so that things can happen easier and with less stress. Now, number 4, this last D is actually for death. Now, I know it's not really a happy conversation to have, but realistically, it's one of the biggest motivators when selling a property. It could either be, but maybe the memories of a home are too painful for the loved one that has left. It may be that there's no one living in the home anymore and the family have to sell on the asset that has been left. Again, though, that this often means that the property needs to be sold quickly. Now, I know that each of these 4 Ds, they're not the happiest scenarios, and they can be extraordinarily sad, unpleasant, and usually involve some serious low points in people's lives. But this also gives you the opportunity to help. It gives you the opportunity to offer a quick sale for someone for a well-priced property that you can turn into an amazing renovation project. They're also not the only reasons that people are motivated to sell. These are just some of the 4 most prominent and most urgent ones. So the 4 Ds. So as long as you know why a seller is motivated, you're able to help them in their situation and at the same time secure a great deal for your next renovation project using the 4 Ds. Thanks for joining me. Did you know I wrote a book all about renovating to create wealth and freedom in your life? I've added the link below in the description for you. Enjoy.